Just shoulder hurts. That's all, yeah. Just hurts.
Trent Williams got that penalty in the third quarter, and I think everybody agrees that there was a fair amount of acting involved in that. But is there any concern that that's become a tactic for other teams to sort of goad him into doing something like that, just given what's happened last year in the championship game, some other games?
I'm sure it is. It's our tactic with everybody. So, I mean, everybody does that stuff. So there's a very fine line between it. I didn't think Trent crossed it, but when the flag comes, you crossed it. So you got to find out what that line is, how the game's going, and if you get a penalty, you're wrong.
How do you feel about the offense's, I guess, overall depth beyond just quarterback going in an NFC Championship game, but across the board on offense?
Pretty good. I mean, I think we've gone through some stuff this year, like all teams do, which has allowed guys to play in a lot of spots. But going into this final game, I mean, just having Debo on there is pretty good.
You mentioned the other day with Demo that he plays from a mentality standpoint at a higher level than most guys. Is that something he came in with and has grown, or is it something he had to coach?
No, I think he came in with that right away. I mean, he's the one in rookie camp who got me fined right away for jamming someone too hard and putting it on the internet. So it took me a little bit of time to get over that. But, I mean, he's always had that mentality. I think as all rookies do, you go through some ups and downs early in the year. So I think at times he lost that a little bit. But that was more not because that's not who he is. That's more just trying to figure out this mental part and the scheme part of the game. But Demo's always been a bulldog, and I think that's why he plays at such a high level.
What are your impressions of the Lions' corners?
Corners? They play with their defense. They make some plays, and their whole defense. Like, I mean, you see in numbers, and you see 31st, I think, in the pass game. But then when you watch the tape, you kind of realize how they are. They're aggressive in what they do. They mix everything up, which makes them susceptible to big plays. But they're also fourth in causing negatives. I think they're leading the league in the last 5 games in turnovers. If not, we're top 5 or something like that. I mean, they're a team that really is very aggressive in what they do, which is going to make you hit or miss. But they cause more negative plays than I think anyone in the NFL. I want to say it was 4th on the whole year, and they tie right into that.
You called Jared Goff a couple of days ago a great quarterback. What do you respect about him, and how has he improved since he's been in Detroit?
I mean, I think he's showing some of the stuff that he did in L.A. I mean, you go with Jared, I mean, he built for a number of years, especially, I think 17, 18, really 18. I mean, he played at MVP type level. When they give him a good scheme, when he's got good people around him, Jared's going to always find the spot. He's as accurate as any quarterback I've seen. He can play at a very top level. If you sit and make things easy for him, he will gas you. I've seen it over and over, whether he's with the Rams, whether he's with Detroit, and that's why you challenge it. You better be on your stuff or he can embarrass you fast.
How does your strategy change at all when you're going against a coach that will take huge gambles, is going to be super aggressive?
Not much. You look at, I mean, you're aware of it, so you understand it, you prepare for it. They might, when it's 3rd down, they might have 2 tries, a lot more than other teams do, but just percentage-wise, they're willing to go for fake punts and all that stuff. I mean, those guys are trying to steal possessions as much as they can. And I'll tell you after the game whether it's a good thing or bad thing for us. I mean, anytime you try to steal possessions, you're also offering an opportunity to lose possessions. So those are opportunities for them, but they're also big opportunities for us too. And if you come up with more than half of them, I feel it's in our favor.
What was your assessment of your run defense the other night? And then when you look at the Lions' run game, what kind of challenges do they present?
I mean, I think it was obviously not good enough. Gave up our first 100-yard rusher in a while. Way too many explosives. They got outside on us too many times. But we're going to have a huge challenge this week. I mean, the Lions, regardless of who they play, they stick with the run. They do it every game. It's a big part of what they do, and they're very balanced. I think they're very similar to our offense, and that'll be a huge challenge this week.
How did Jair Brown make it through practice last week, and is there a chance to get back on the field this week?
Yeah, there's a chance. I thought he ended the week real well, and I expect him to be that much better this week because of it.
You obviously thought a lot of Fred Warner's skill set when you drafted him, and you put him right in the lineup, but his evolution of a leader, is that something you noticed about him right away, or is it something that's kind of gone as you had him?
I mean, it's a lot easier to be a great leader the better player you are. There's not many really good leaders who aren't really good players. It's really hard for that to last. Guys eventually aren't going to listen to you unless you're balling on the field. So Fred came in with the capabilities of being a great leader. I'm sure he was at his college, I'm not sure, but just the way he carries himself, how hard of a work he is, how consistent he is, just the character of the type of man he is, the effort he does. I mean, it's all about that, the way he can speak to guys, hold guys accountable. But he got better and better because he played better and better. And when you do that, people want to listen to you, regardless if you talk well. But Fred does, he speaks well, and guys, they know what he does all year. So when you put in that type of work, and it looks that way on the field, when Fred says something, you got to listen. He's earned that respect in every facet of his game.
Brock seemed to be out of rhythm in the first 3 quarters of the game against Green Bay. After you watched the film, was it Green Bay? Was it the wet ball? What do you think took him out of his rhythm?
I mean, I think it wasn't just Brock. I think it was her whole offense. I mean, they did some good things. They stopped us, kind of completed a couple third downs. We had a big penalty that made us miss one. I mean, I'm sure a few balls got away in the rain like they always do, like I think it did from the other quarterback also. But I also thought that was a good defense we were going against. I thought they were a challenge. We knew it would be a challenge going into the week. We would like to have done better, but I mean, the way Brock finished on that last drive, and not just him, but everybody, I mean, it was a little here and there. I mean, just we were able to overcome some of our mistakes on the last drive than we did earlier in the game, even the drops, things like that. But and I wouldn't put it all on just Brock. I mean, Brock did some really good things, and that would have been impossible to win the game without him.
What challenges do you have looking at the Lions' defense schematically and also personnel-wise, and just trying to pick them apart and figure out which areas to attack?
I mean, they're different almost every week. You know, so you kind of got to see that in the game and how they play. They'll switch stuff up. If they get beat on something, it's going to be something different next time. So there's the consistency is they're going to attack and be aggressive, but it's not in terms of just coverages, fronts, and all that stuff. It's they're running around trying to create confusion, trying to create negative plays. That's how they get their turnovers. That's how they don't mind giving you a lot of stuff, and all of a sudden they create a negative play on second down, and you're in 3rd and 15. And really, I feel that's their goal to the game. You saw that with Tampa. I mean, there was 3 of their drives. They were moving the ball really well, and whether it was second down or third down, they made a mistake, and just like that, they were off the field and really had to surrender on 3rd and long. So they're opportunistic and they create it. And when you pair that with a really good offense, it only takes a couple drives for the whole game to change up real fast.
What were your impressions of Juwan walking a guy into the Gatorade, and what is he? I guess the most ferocious run blocking wide receiver you've coached?
Probably. He's I mean, what he did on that, taking the guy into the Gatorade, it's what he does every play out of practice. I mean, our defense tried to fight him all last year because they thought he was going above and beyond. And the next day in the meeting, I had to show him what he does every single play and to say it's not personal. This is just how he blocks. He stops after the whistle. He just drives into people, puts his face and hands into people, and never stops. And when it's over, he usually goes back to the huddle, but usually people take it personal. But it's not personal. That's just what he does.
Is that a unique thing that he can play that way to the whistle? And I don't recall him getting any penalties for unnecessary roughness.
No, he's caused a lot, but that's kind of what I mean. Like that's what I had to show our defense. That's how he always is. You almost want to warn refs too, because it looks like he's going out there and doing it. He's just playing to the whistle, and he takes that whistle very literally. I mean, he's playing till the whistle, and usually when that whistle comes, he's in the middle of driving into someone, and when that happens, they both end up on the ground.
You guys have had one of the lower touchback rates in the league. What's the strategy of kicking short, and how do you think it's worked out for you guys in general?
I mean, we don't always have that strategy. I mean, sometimes we do, but it's just not guaranteed that you're going to always kick it back there. I mean, usually we would like to. There have been times that we've asked them not to, more earlier in the year, but for the most part, we're usually trying to get touchbacks.
Was it Saturday that you thought the coaching staff had an off day, that the team felt off and you made some mistakes? Now, a couple of days after, why do you think that was, and how do you fix it?
That's just because that happens every game, and that's just me answering questions honestly. I mean, there wasn't any. I thought it was very balanced. There wasn't like, man, we played awesome on offense today or awesome on defense, and just this side of the ball. I thought everyone just didn't play the best they could, but that also sounds like an excuse. I thought Green Bay did a hell of a job. I thought there was a couple things that we missed, but they caused a lot of it. But I also think we did a hell of a job winning the game, not because of how we played in the fourth quarter. So I think all that stuff tied into it. And I mean, when we do awesome, I still have the same answer. I can't tell you guys how many things when you guys think we did really good that we don't talk about in there what we did really good. We just talked about the 8 or the 20 or the 16 or whatever it is, plays that we didn't do our best on.
Two more on the the long kickoff return. Was that planned to be taken through the end zone? It was not strategic.
No, that was just short. Yeah.
And also, before your last punt, that could have been a long field goal attempt, 58, I think it would have been. Did you think about it? Do you think Moody sort of has that kind of range at times?
I think he does if we got to have it. Yeah, we can attempt it from there. But no, I wasn't trying to attempt a 58 at that moment in the game.
Last one.
Yeah, so looking at Amon-Ra St. Brown, a German receiver, what are your thoughts on that? Is he gonna give you a headache, or how are you gonna cover him?
The best we can. He does. I mean, he's a really good football player, and they get him the ball in a number of different ways. So there's no way to just cover a guy. You don't just say cover him in man, cover him in zone. It's about defending the team and the scheme. And when you do that, you usually make it harder for a good player too. And if you don't, their scheme gets going. They run the ball well. They throw the ball, whatever it is, and you're just trying to defend both. And then you're going to get a guy like that good looks. And when you get a guy like that good looks, it's similar to when you get guys like that we have good looks. It's not easy to stop them.
Is there a chance that Moody follows him, shadows him?
There's always a chance. All right, guys.
Morning.
I was just talking about their cornerbacks. Their cornerbacks and secondary are very aggressive with, good and bad. They've given up a lot of big games to very good wide receivers. You're a very good wide receiver. Do you see opportunities against them potentially?
Oh yeah, we've been watching the tape. They're a good defense. They fly around. They play hard. But for sure, like any wide receiver, we're looking for spaces and places that we might be able to get to throughout the course of the game on tape. And I've been watching them the past couple of weeks, starting in Dallas a couple weeks ago, and then the past couple of weeks in playoffs. So we're definitely excited as a unit for the opportunity coming up.
Do you remember Trent saying something when you guys got the ball back with a little bit more than 6 minutes to go in the huddle to the offense?
What did he say?
Oh, I think he basically said that, this was it. You guys had to do something with the ball on that drive. One more Trent question. I mean, he's never been to a Super Bowl. What would it mean to kind of get him there? I mean, is that something that you've kind of thought about, some of the older players on your team, giving them the opportunity to win a Super Bowl?
Shit, I've never been to a Super Bowl, so I'm trying to go to a Super Bowl.
Brandon, you guys kind of own the middle of the field as receivers, as a team, and this team's got two really physical guys, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Kirby Joseph. What do they look like on film? What kind of challenge are they going to possess this week?
We just started watching it last night and this morning, so I got to watch more. But like I said, those guys, the whole defense, they play hard. They come at you all game long. They play together, and they have fun. So I'll continue to watch it and look at that, but just preparing.
Do you expect Debo to be out there on Sunday?
I do, personally. But just continue to pray for him that he can get better throughout the week and be out there with us to finish the job.
If he's not, do you put more on your plate? You're expectations for what you need to produce? Does that elevate?
It just depends. It just depends. It's week to week. It just depends on what it's looking like. We lost him last week, and at the beginning of the last game, we pretty much didn't have him last week. And he's a Z, I'm not the Z, so we had JJ step up. It's a group effort when we lose anybody. It's a group effort. So Ray went in, played F, Juwan played Z, Chris played Z. It's a group effort when guys go down. So I think the whole entire unit has to elevate and step up if that's the case. So we'll see.
Do you feel like that this unit's more prepared to do that this year than in any years past, considering just the collection of talent that's there and the overall health of the offense right now?
Yeah, for sure. Just guys being back, like Juwan. This is. I feel like this is his moment. It's what he's made for. It's what he's built for. So if the opportunity presents itself, I'm ready to ride with him. Same for Ray. If he's Juwan's going to Z, Ray stepping in that F. This is all the work that we put in. This is what it's for. So I'm sure everybody will step up to the plate and be ready.
And what was your impression of first time you saw Juwan block the guy into the Gatorade, and then how much has his ferociousness as a run blocker influenced you?
Yeah, I saw. I didn't see it till I was watching the tape on Saturday night. But I was messing with him just like ever since then, because he was the one he took him all the way to the Gatorade table, but he got turned at the last second. So I was getting on him for that. But no, it's just even just plays like that, the whole entire team feeds off of it. So when he's blocking like that, that's usually when we're at our best.
Down for Lenore, was there a point over the last year or so that you saw his mentality really change and upgrade his potential on the field?
I think, yeah. Once, probably about, there was a moment in time where you could just feel his hunger every single day at practice, every single game, and he's built off that since that point, and he's balling right now.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't remember exactly. I don't want to short change. I don't want to play him like that. I can't remember exactly when it was, but from that moment on, he's been playing great football. He's been elevating the receivers, the guys that are going up against him, and elevating himself into a top player. And he was turning me up. He had the whole entire team turned up on Saturday. So we just need him to stay on it.
How do you perceive the reporting of your quarterback, Brock Purdy? And how do you kind of get over the critics?
I'm not really talking or focused on his critics. Like, we all sitting here because of him, obviously. So.
What distinguishes him? Like, when you think of him, what kinds of characteristics come to mind?
Steady, dog, just football player. I love playing football with him. And he's the reason why I'm sitting here today feeling like I have opportunity this weekend to play my best football because a quarterback like him.
I think a lot of people say, oh my gosh, he has all these weapons. The weapons you included make him better. But how does he make you and Debo and Christian and George, how does he make everybody on that offense better?
I think just time and anticipation. Most of the time when I feel like I'm lining up and I feel like I'm getting the ball, like, okay, this is my football to get right here. He's probably, I don't know a time where that hasn't been the case. He sees the same thing that we see, and he gets us the ball on time so that we're able to do what we do after we catch the football, because we're going to be open. We're going to get open. Stuff's going to be schemed up, but it takes a quarterback to get the ball to you on time in the right spots so that you could transition and turn plays into bigger plays.
What do you think of Brock yelling at Ray for the missed assignment? I mean, it kind of showed his fire, also shows his kind of, his perfection, seeking perfection. What do you think of it?
I haven't seen that. What was that?
Well, he was just like, yelling at him, what are you doing? Because it looked like he might have cut the wrong way. Are there harsh conversations sometimes on the field between quarterback and the receivers about miscommunication?
I mean, I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not sure on the player what it was, so I'm not sure on the miscommunication, but that's just standard we hold each other to. We got to be in the right spot for each other. And more as these games come down to the last two here, we got to just be there in the right spots for each other.
Brandon, this is your consecutive NFC Championship appearance. Obviously, the last two didn't go according to plan. Do the results of those two games fuel you into this Sunday's game against Detroit?
Oh, yeah, for sure, because we're here now for the third time, trying to get over the hump, trying to get to the other side, and it's just the times now, the times right now. That's it.
All right, thanks, Brandon.
Thank you.
Fred for you guys.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Just because. I'm sure you can figure it out.
Speaking of wide receivers and tiffs, Kyle was just talking about Juwan in practice. You know, he just sent the guy into the cooler. But just like how he had to tell guys like that's just how he blocks. He's not doing anything dirty. What from a defensive perspective are you like, buddy? It's practice. You need to calm down a little, or do you respect it because that's kind of your tempo?
I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen him dump anybody in the Gatorade in practice, but I mean that's just that's exactly who he is through and through. He plays the game exactly the way that you want it to be played, especially at that position. I mean, I've said it before. I think he's one of the best football players on our team. He doesn't get all the the attention or the limelight, but he's going to be there in the clutch situations when you need him. He's steady Eddie as it comes. Obviously with the run game stuff and also in the pass game, he just is a very complete player, and I'm really happy he's on our side.
How does Jared Goff now compare to the guy you faced when he was on the Rams for those years?
A lot better. Not to say that he wasn't good when we played him back, when he was with the Rams, but I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now with the way that he's playing. I think he finished top 3 in passing yards this season, and I think just the delivery of the football, his decisiveness, obviously with the amount of playmakers that he has on that side, I think he's the one that's leading that group, and he's the reason why they're at where they're at right now. You need your quarterback to be the leader of the team and the offense, and get yourself in a position to be in a game like this.
Looking at the German receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, what are your thoughts on that, and how are you going to cover him?
Yeah, I like him a lot. I love the way that he plays the game. I think I met him for the first time, or was it last year at the Pro Bowl? I played with his older brother back in high school in L.A. when we did 7-on-7. I always remember seeing his little brother, just a fiery little cat, who was really talented, went to USC, had a great career there, and now being with the Lions, he has a chip on his shoulder. I think he got drafted in the 5th round or something like that, 4th round. And, he took that personally, and he's been able to ascend himself into the top tier of receiver play in this league really early in his career. And so he does things the right way. You can tell he plays hard. He practices hard, does things the right way. And he's somebody that we're for sure going to have to be aware of when we play them.
What's so challenging about their run game, the Lions?
I think a lot of challenges. I think it starts up front with their offensive line. I think they have one of the best offensive line groups in the league. They have big guys who are athletic, who play with the right mindset, along with the rest of their team. But then also you add the two-headed monster at running back that they have with Montgomery and Gibbs. I think it's a 1-2 punch. You got your physical and you got your speed there with quickness. And that's where the challenges present, because they can run downhill, they can hit you on the outside. So we have to obviously cover all areas.
When you look at their offense in general, do you see similarities to what you guys run here? Is that possibly helpful in terms of when watching?
Yeah, I do see similarities, just in terms of what they run, personnel, what they're trying to do, a lot of different weapons, trying to get the ball in everybody's hand to make sure that you can't just stop one thing. You got to make sure you cover all your bases.
This will be your
third NFC game in a row, championship game in a row. It will be Detroit's first. What role does experience play on a game like Sundays?
Yeah, it could be used to our advantage, but at the same time, you know, my first NFC Championship game back in 19 was my first one. It was at home. I think that's more so the advantage is playing at home in front of our fans, the faithful, playing on our grass, knowing exactly, you know, the environment that we're playing in. I think that's the advantage. I'm not really putting too much into them being there for an NFC Championship game. They've proven they can win in the playoffs now, back-to-back games at home for them. So I think the advantage here is playing at home.
Detroit being such a high-scoring first-quarter offense, I know you guys always want to get the early stop, but is that a bigger emphasis this week?
I wouldn't put too much emphasis on that. I think, like you mentioned, I think the goal is always to get stops early, to gain that momentum for our team, and knowing how explosive our offense is and how quick they can get points on the board. The quicker we can get the ball out of their offense's hands and into our offense, I think that's the recipe that we want.
Laporta seems to play with like some veteran traits, but he's a rookie. What do you see when you watch him?
I think you can say that about all the rookies, honestly. I think they're all dialed in the exact right way. They obviously scouted and drafted guys that are made of the right stuff. I really like Laporta's game. I think in the past game, the fact that he's able to be top 3, top 2 in the league in yards, and is savvy in his routes that you don't really see in young tight ends. Great hands. He can separate with his speed and quickness. You know, he's got everything that you want at the position.
Is there more out there for this defense, for your defense to accomplish, and what do you guys put on your plate to do your part to get through to the next round?
Yeah, there's plenty. You know, the time for, hey guys, let's get better. You know, let's get better this week. Let's get better. Like that's kind of over with. Like, you got to perform at your best now. When your best is needed, it's time to really put it out there and lead from the front. Like, if we want to win this game, I'm putting it all in the defense's hands. I'm saying that all we need to do is score 3 on offense, and we're going to win it for us. You know, that's the mindset that we got to go into this week. We got to go into this week with, and you know, the time, like I said, the time for we'll get it right next week. That's over with. You know, we got to make sure we come out guns a-blazing. We got to set the tone right away, and we got to make sure we're coming out playing our best football.
You mentioned the rookies. I was chuckling reading back about when you were a rookie, and I think Coach gave you the feedback that you were a little too loud on the field. You could hear you from the sideline.
Classic.
What other things have you worked on with him over the years, and just can you talk about your relationship with him?
Yeah, I just from that jump, trying to play Mike linebacker from coming out of BYU, never playing off the ball backer and never giving calls before. You know, I had a great coach in D'Amico Ryans who obviously played the position at a high level, is one of the best coaches out there. And he told me from the start, like, he's like, you need to be demanding. You need to say the calls with conviction when you're out there. And I took that and I ran with it, obviously, and I was screaming them, you know, but just little things like that. I think I've learned so much as I've gone on. I'm still learning to this day. Just trying to be the best player I can for this team and be the best teammate I can.
Your self-described best friend, Brandon Aiyuk, just came in and talked about how it's big to get over the hump. Obviously, last 2 years, losing in the NFC Championship game. Would you say the defense has the same mindset, like trying to get over that hump that's been an issue the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think you know, the last 2 years every year is unique in itself. You talk about last year in Philly, we went into that game with full confidence, believing that we were going to win that game. And, you know, Brock goes down, we lose our backup quarterback and didn't have much of a shot. The year before that, nobody gave us a chance. You know, we barely slip into the playoffs at the end of the year and then have to play the Rams, who obviously went on to win that Super Bowl. That was a tight battle all the way through. It's just 1 or 2 plays in the game that win or lose you the game at this point. You know, it's the team that plays the best for 3 hours. And, you know, even this past Saturday, were we the best team that played for those 3 hours? I mean, we made 1 or 2 plays in the end to make it happen, you know. And so I don't know how this game's going to go on Sunday. I know we gotta play our best football when our best is needed. And whenever those 1 or 2 plays come, you got to make them.
I know it's not the ultimate goal, but you said throughout the season, I think Juice said it after the game, once you lose last year's NFC Championship, you can't just snap your fingers and get back to the game, but what is the sense of satisfaction, if there is any, just to be back here, one win away from going back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to look at it. You know, I walk up here, I see this little sheet behind me, and I'm like, I can blink, and I remember getting up here, you know, getting ready for Philly, seeing that same exact banner, and like the fact that we're here. You work so hard all season long. We talked about it all season, to be able to put ourselves in a position where we could play the NFC Championship game again and also do it at home. You know how big that is up for us, and we did that. You know, we have that opportunity right now. So how can you not sell out? How can you not give your all to this thing? How can you not make sure you're playing your best ball for 3 hours on Sunday? You know, I know the type of team we have, the type of players we have and talent. I know if we play our best ball for 3 hours, we'll get the job done.
All right, thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, guys.
I think this might be the best line you guys go against, and Sewell's considered the best right tackle. What do you think of Decker and Sewell when you watch them?
They're really good. Played good all year. Decker's been doing it since 10 years plus now. He used to watch him battle my brother in camp at Ohio State. And then Sewell's gotten better each year. Really good in the run game, so it'll be a good challenge.
You heard just Fred talk about, you know, as soon as last season ended, the goal was to get back to where you are right now. Do those past experiences, do they have any impact on what's going to happen on Sunday night?
It's hard to say if it's going to impact what goes down for 3 hours on Sunday, but definitely is good experience for us. Been here a lot, but yeah, it's really a new year every year, so got to play good.
I'm extremely familiar with Jared Goff. Is he the same guy in Detroit that he was in LA, and what's the key to defending him?
Yeah, I think he is the same guy. Not saying he's played great in LA and he's played great with Detroit, but the key is obviously getting pressure on him. He's got a really good O-line, so it makes it tough, but you cover up his first couple reads and you get after him, hit him a few times, it changes things a little bit.
What was your assessment of you guys in the run game the other night, and what kind of challenges Detroit's run game?
Yeah, we definitely got hit on a lot of crack tosses. Weren't fitting them great, but it's a play that we're going to see with them for sure with 26. So we're going to emphasize that this week. Hopefully, put it out early but overall, I think we played really physical. I think the edge guys are starting to get a really good feel for this scheme. Chase, Randy, and Rob. And I was happy to see Eric out there feeling good, feeling healthy, and I think J.K. had one of his best games. So yeah, we're going to need another one.
Did you feel a difference in terms of, you know, setting the edge? You mentioned the guys that are maybe playing more rundown specifically without Clee out there. Did you feel a difference in terms of guys having to kind of, you know, get into that mode of setting the edge a little bit more?
Yeah, not so much. Obviously, losing Clee is tough, but just overall, I think we've gotten better at edge, just getting the scheme down. Having new guys who haven't been here for a camp takes some time to really just take your seatbelt off and penetrate like we're coached to do. And, yeah.
It's not as if you as a defensive line didn't affect Love, particularly in some key moments late in the game. But when you look at the end of the game, and it says 0 sacks. Do you guys say this is unacceptable?
Not when the scoreboard's in our favor. So we affect the game in different ways. Sacks are good. I feel like I talk about this a lot. I wish I didn't have to, but it's what we're paid to do. So, but affecting the quarterback in different ways could be just as valuable as sacks. They're hard to come by lately, but we're going to keep working our ass off to get them as many as we can.
What was the key to getting pressure on Jordan Lovely? He obviously had a lot of really good throws early on, but obviously the 2 interceptions later in the game. What was the key to getting more pressure on him as the game went on?
I don't think much changed. It was definitely a game where they stayed in their offense. They were able to keep running the ball, stayed on the field for really long drives. They kept the chip protections in almost all day. So we didn't really get them exactly where we wanted them, but just keep on trucking and some some key pressures towards the end, and yeah, Dre got under one.
Chase has seemed to fit in pretty well since he's been here, but the numbers haven't necessarily, shown up. Do you get the sense that he's ready for that kind of breakout game that with so much attention on you, that he can kind of have the performance that can make game-changing plays in this one?
Yeah, he has the ability, that's for sure, and you see it in pass rush on certain plays where he's beating guys quick. The other night, he had a couple where the ball was out, but he was winning, and we're going to need it if they're going to slide a certain way and chip a certain way, whether it's my side or Eric or Grave or whoever it is who they're focusing on a certain play. Those one-on-ones have to come alive.
We've seen the D-line this year more five-man front. A couple games, the Giants game comes to mind. How does your role and mentality switch from a four-man line to a five-man front?
The Bear front is definitely a change up for our run stuff. Stop the run if we need it. But it doesn't change my mindset as an edge guy very much.
Nick, on Jones's 53-yard run, it looked like 5-6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You had a shot at him. I don't know if you got caught in between steps or what happened on that.
Yeah, I definitely felt like it was a weird. I was running my ass off all game trying to hit anything that moved, and I think Logan flashed on my inside, and I didn't dive for him, and I was definitely not happy about that play. It's hard to say in real time, especially on when a guy's moving that fast, and but yeah, thank God he missed that field goal.
Did that remind you at all of, Kowalski had that stop on Jones in Green Bay? Did that, tackle by Charvarius remind you at all of that play?
Yeah, it's similar.
Nick, now that you've been through this a few times, do you talk to some of the younger guys on the team just kind of to try to tell them what to expect in terms of the level of competition in a championship game, or is that something that you just expect they've kind of absorbed throughout the season?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely talked to some of the guys who haven't been through it. We have a lot of guys that have been through it, so it's kind of like a whole culture that they've been around for a while now. So, but yeah, I think I've talked to the new guys, Chase being a big one, just how you need to step it up a notch. And I think I saw that as a D-line, like the physicality and the effort. I think we did take that step last week, and we're gonna have to take another one.
Nick, I don't know if you get pregame butterflies until that first hit, but are your emotions different, this being your fourth NFC Championship game in the last 5 years?
Yeah, it's definitely different in the playoffs. You kind of have that mentality early in the week that that you're just ready to go. Sometimes it takes till game day to get going, but in the playoffs, you're ready to play on Wednesday. So,
Thanks,
ready.
Nick.
Thanks.
Brock, before you guys.
How do you go about transforming, the good and the negative from one week to make yourself better the following week?
Yeah, for me, it's, you're real with yourself. You understand where you're at as a quarterback, how you played. And it doesn't matter if you play good or bad. Like, you can't, I don't think, take really any of that with you the next week. It's a new game. It's a new scheme. It's a new environment. Everything about it is new. So it's almost like you got to clean the slate, learn from the mistakes, build off of, the good things that you've done. But it's going to be it's a new game. So that's the mental battle that I feel like all the NFL quarterbacks go through, and I think that's where the great ones really, separate themselves from the others. So, yeah, that's how I look at it.
Brock, when you watch the Green Bay film and you were critiquing yourself, what didn't you like about the way you played in the first part of the game?
Yeah, I feel like there was this, early on, there were some decisions that I made that sort of made me feel a little tentative, after. Obviously that one that could have been intercepted. And it's like, go through your reads and take the checkdowns when the defense presents itself the way it does. And build off that rather than trying to search for the play and look for the big play. And then when it's not there, not having confidence in our checkdowns and stuff. So that's something that I have to be better at. That's what I needed to do at the end of the game. I feel like we got to that point, and I started doing that better, and we were able to move the ball. So that's something that I learned for sure.
Kyle mentioned the aggressiveness of their defense, but their corners in particular, it's been a double-edged sword because they're great takeaways, but they also give up big plays. Do you see that whole the line of danger, but big play chances against them?
Yeah. I think every week it's sort of been a little different just depending on who they're playing. They do a lot of switching up just with their coverages and how they play guys and certain receivers that they're covering. So it's always a little different with them. And so there could be some big plays, and then there's also plays where they're going to play tight. And, as a quarterback, it's like you got to know that they're going to be aggressive and they can make a play. So it's definitely a fine line. And once we get into the game, hopefully we can get a feel for it and understand what kind of game it's going to be with them.
Given how last year, when you got to this stage, things ended for you personally especially, what does it mean to you to be back on this stage and have another opportunity just a year later to be in this game?
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously where we wanted to get to as a team, and that's, first and foremost. And obviously I'm excited that we're here. And so now it's, last year. That was its own game. It hasn't been anything that has bled into this year or this game. And, this is the 49ers against the Lions now. So it's a new year, new approach, I feel like, just in terms of, playing their defense and their scheme, not, thinking about last year or anything. So, for me, obviously I got hurt last year and it sucked. That was part of the game. Going into this game, I'm healthy, feel good. And, I think for all of us, we're obviously hungry and want to get to the next game after. So we got to handle business and take it one play at a time and allow everything to happen for a reason. So
is not trusting the checkdowns because you're getting to them late because you're searching for the big play? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, in that game.
When you look at last year, I mean, it seemed like it happened so quickly. What's the difference in kind of the slow build of this year? Knowing you're the starting quarterback from day one, knowing that the goal is to get to the NFC Championship Game. Is there any difference in the mindset for you?
I mean, I've obviously played more games this year and stuff compared to last year, and so to help this team from the beginning and all the way to the end to get to where we are now, for me it's a little different, and obviously that's been our goal. And now to say that, okay, I actually helped our team, that's cool. Where last year, I got thrusted in and we had a good team, we were rolling. And not to take away anything that happened last year, but it sort of does feel a little different because you went through so many highs and lows this year. And now to get to where we are, it's like, okay, it feels pretty good. So, but at the same time, this has been this organization's and team's mindset long before I even got here, and what they've been building here in terms of, doing what it takes to get to a championship. And so I'm just another key part of that, and I'm just doing my job as best as I can week in and week out, and here we are.
How do you feel about just the supporting cast around you in terms of, I guess, maybe a more depth in terms of being able to have contingency plans if one guy goes down, maybe more than you did last year, how deep you guys are?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's huge. Obviously we get guys that get banged up and may not play as much and whatnot from game to game, but we have some studs all across the board, and we got guys that can step up. Juwan Jennings, Ray McLeod, you got guys that can come in and do the job really well. So that's something that's cool about our team and what this organization has done. Obviously they get guys that are willing to step in and continue to keep this thing going, and we've shown that, I feel like, throughout the years. And so obviously the teams have to scheme to stop certain guys, and I think at the end of the day they end up having to just play their way of football rather than focusing so much on one certain guy, because we have 5, 6, 7 guys that they have to worry about. So that's the cool part, and that's the team that we got. So
what do you think is the key just to win on Sunday?
I feel like just for us on offense, we got to obviously put up points. They have a good offense. We respect their defense a lot and what they do. They've had a lot of success this year, and obviously the last couple of games they've been playing really well. So for us, it's, don't turn the ball over, put up some points like we have this year. Let our defense do their thing and try to win the momentum throughout the game. I feel like this game's going to come down to momentum, and whoever has that, I think has a good chance of winning the whole thing.
What happened on the Ray missed the
game, and this year at home with the faithful on your back? Do you feel like that creates a big difference in the atmosphere going into this NFC Championship?
Yeah, I think, just the game that this is going to be, it's an NFC Championship, two really good teams. And then obviously just the Bay Area and the faithful in general, we want this game bad, and they've obviously been hoping, to have another championship come in this organization. Last couple times we've been in the Super Bowl, we've fallen short. So now we get a shot at it again. So to play at home in the NFC Championship, it's gonna be sweet.
The Ray missed assignment.
Have Debo out there.
One more time.
How important is it for you and what you guys do as an offense to hopefully have Debo out there?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously, I think he's probably the best playmaker in this league. You get the ball in his hands, he can do whatever he wants. Makes guys miss, breaks tackles. He's strong, he's tough, he's got grit, and we all feed off it. So Debo definitely gives us some juice and energy and momentum on our offense. And I mean, if he's not playing, obviously that's tough on us, but we'll have guys to be able to play as well that can create that as well. So, but yeah, if you're asking me, we'd love for Debo to play.
On the Ray, looked like a missed assignment. It looked like you said, what are you doing? It looked like you guys had some harsh words, and then you guys were on the sideline talking about it. What happened exactly on that play, and what was the breakdown there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through my progressions, and from where I'm at with the pocket closing and stuff, I'm expecting him to be where he's supposed to be with the route that we had called on. The corner actually slipped that was guarding him, so he was trying to be smart and throw up his hand and run the space, which I get. And so in the moment, I was like, man, you just got to be where you got to be, where I'm expecting you to be. But I totally understand what you're doing. If a guy falls, there's a big play to be made out there. So we had talked about it, and then we ended up on good terms. And moving forward, we know what to expect out of each other and stuff. And we're in that moment again. So it's just communication. We're competitors in the heat of battle. Things like that happen, and we needed that, in that moment in the game. So that third down. So I had a little frustration come out and stuff, but it's nothing but love. I totally trust and respect Ray and what he's done, and we're going to get better from it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.